I saw his face, a mask of cool detachment, right there in the middle of Lily's graduation ceremony, and my world fractured. What kind of man tells his wife he's leaving her at their daughter's graduation? I mean, seriously, what kind of monster? The sun was blazing, a perfect California day. Birds were chirping. Lily, my beautiful, brilliant Lily, had just walked across that stage, diploma in hand, ready to conquer the world. And Lucas, my husband of 23 years, the man I thought I knew, leaned over and whispered those soul-crushing words. "I'm leaving you, Emily. I've already moved out." The world tilted. The cheering crowd faded into a muffled hum. I felt like I was underwater, everything distorted and slow. "What?" I managed to croak, my voice barely audible. He didn't even flinch. I said, "I'm leaving. It's over." I should have done this a long time ago. He had the nerve to look bored at our daughter's graduation while delivering this life-altering news. I wanted to scream, to claw at his face, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain that was ripping through me. But Lily was beaming, making her way through the crowd towards us. "I'll talk to you later," Lucas said, then plastered on a fake smile for Lily as she approached. He hugged her, congratulated her, completely ignoring the volcano erupting inside me. Later? Later! He thought he could just drop this bomb and then discuss it. Later? Did he really think I was going to let him control the narrative? Control my life? Not this time. No way. That's when I made my decision. It was a split-second thing, a primal instinct for self-preservation kicking in. I would not let him ruin this day. I would not let him walk away unscathed. I would not let him win. The graduation dinner was excruciating. Everyone was celebrating, laughing, sharing memories. Lily was radiant, the center of attention. And I was sitting there, trying to swallow the lump in my throat, desperately trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy. Lucas, of course, played the part of the proud father perfectly. He was charming, witty, and completely oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. Or maybe he wasn't oblivious. Maybe he just didn't care. After dinner, as we were walking to the car, I pulled him aside. "We need to talk," I said, my voice dangerously low. He sighed, like I was inconveniencing him. "Emily, can't this wait? I'm meeting someone." "No, it can't wait," I hissed. "And I know who you're meeting." His eyes widened, just a fraction, but it was enough. He knew that I knew. "What are you talking about?" he asked. His voice suddenly strained. "Don't play dumb, Lucas. I know about Sarah." Sarah, his co-worker. A blonde, 20 years younger than me, with an annoying habit of liking all his social media posts. I'd suspected something for months, but I'd dismissed it as paranoia. Stupid me. He paled. "Emily, this isn't the time or the place." "Oh, I think it's the perfect time and place," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Right here, in front of God and everyone, as they say, especially Lily. I wonder what she would think." He grabbed my arm, his grip tight. "Don't you dare bring Lily into this." "Why not?" I asked, my eyes blazing. "She deserves to know the truth. She deserves to know what kind of man her father really is." That's when I did it. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. I had proof. Screenshots of text messages, photos of them together. Even a recording of a phone call I'd managed to capture using a hidden app. I'd been collecting evidence for weeks, just in case. And now the time had come. I held up my phone, the screen displaying a compromising photo of Lucas and Sarah. "Care to explain this, Lucas?" He went ballistic. He tried to grab my phone, but I dodged him. He started yelling, his face red with rage. "Give me that! You have no right!" People were staring. Lily was approaching, her expression a mixture of confusion and concern. I knew I was making a scene, but I didn't care. He had made a scene first, by dropping this bombshell on me at our daughter's graduation. "This is for Lily," I said, my voice shaking but firm. She deserves to know the truth. What would you have done? Would you have stayed silent? Would you have let him get away with it? Or would you have fought back, like I did? The aftermath was a blur. Lily was devastated, understandably. She ran off, tears streaming down her face. I felt terrible for hurting her, but I knew I had to do it. She deserved to know. Lucas was furious. He accused me of ruining his life, of being a vindictive, jealous shrew. He packed his bags and left that night, slamming the door behind him. I was alone, empty, heartbroken, but also, strangely, empowered. I had stood up for myself. I had refused to be a victim. I wasn't going to let Lucas walk away with everything. He had betrayed me, he had humiliated me, and he was going to pay. My lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Deborah, listened patiently as I told her everything. She took notes, asked questions, and then gave me her assessment. "You have a strong case, Emily," she said. "His infidelity is a clear violation of your marital agreement. We can fight for a significant settlement." "I want half of everything," I said, my voice unwavering. "His business, his investments, everything. And I want the house." Deborah raised an eyebrow. "That's ambitious, Emily, but not impossible. We'll need to gather all the evidence, build a solid case, and be prepared for a fight." And a fight it was. Lucas hired a high-powered lawyer, a shark who specialized in divorce cases. He was determined to minimize his losses. The depositions, interrogations, mountains of paperwork. It felt like my entire life was being dissected, analyzed, and scrutinized. Lucas tried to paint me as a crazy, unstable woman. He claimed I was obsessed with him, that I had fabricated the evidence of his infidelity. He even tried to argue that the affair was my fault, that I had driven him away with my nagging and well, I won't repeat the insults he hurled at me. It was exhausting, emotionally draining. But I refused to give up. I had come too far. One day, Deborah called me with some news. "We found something, Emily," she said, her voice excited. "Lucas has been hiding assets. He has a secret bank account in the Cayman Islands." A secret bank account? I was shocked. How could he be so deceitful? "We can use this against him," Deborah said. "This is a game changer." And it was. When we presented the evidence of the secret bank account in court, Lucas's lawyer looked like he'd been punched in the gut. The judge was not impressed. Lucas was forced to admit the existence of the account, and he was ordered to turn over all the funds to me. The settlement was, I got half of everything just like I wanted. I got the house, and I got a sense of closure, but the victory felt hollow. Yes, I had won. I had gotten what I wanted. But at what cost? My marriage was over. My family was fractured. And my heart was broken. Lily and I were barely speaking. She was still angry at me for exposing Lucas's affair, for ruining her graduation. I understood her anger, but it still hurt. One rainy evening, I was sitting alone in the house, staring out the window. The house, my house, the house I had fought so hard to keep. But it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt empty, cold. My phone buzzed. It was a text message from an unknown number. "You think you won? Think again." My blood ran cold. Who was this? And what did they want? I tried to trace the number, but it was untraceable. A burner phone, most likely. I suddenly felt vulnerable, exposed. Like someone was watching me, They were cryptic, threatening, designed to instill fear. "We know your secrets, Emily. You can't hide forever. Revenge is a dish best served cold." I was terrified. I started sleeping with a knife under my pillow. I installed security cameras around the house. I changed my phone number. I told Deborah about the messages, but she couldn't do anything without knowing who was sending them. I had no idea who was behind it. Was it Lucas? Was it Sarah? Or was it someone else entirely? One day, I received a package in the mail. It was a small, unmarked box. Inside, There was a USB drive. I hesitated to plug it into my computer. What if it contained a virus? What if it was a trap? But I couldn't resist. I had to know what was on it. I plugged the USB drive into an old laptop that I didn't use anymore. The screen flickered, and then a folder appeared. I opened the folder, and my heart stopped. Inside, there were photos. Photos of me. Photos taken from inside my house. Photos of me sleeping. I was being watched. Someone was inside my house. I slammed the laptop shut and ran out of the house, screaming. I didn't stop running until I reached the police station. I told them everything, about the messages, about the photos, about my fear. They took my statement and promised to investigate, but they warned me that it could take time. That night, I didn't go back to the house. I stayed in a hotel, but I couldn't sleep. I was too scared. They had found something, a hidden camera in my bedroom. They had also identified the person who had installed the camera. It was Lily's boyfriend, Jake. Jake? I couldn't believe it. He seemed like such a nice, normal guy. The police questioned him, and he confessed. He said he had been hired by Lucas to spy on me, to gather evidence that could be used against me in court. Lucas had stooped to a new low. He had used my own daughter's boyfriend to try to destroy me. I was furious, but I was also heartbroken. How could he do this to Lily? How could he be so cruel? I confronted Lily about Jake. She was shocked and devastated. She broke up with him immediately, but she was also angry at me. She accused me of ruining her life, of driving Lucas to do desperate things. I tried to explain to her that Lucas was responsible for his own actions, that he had made his own choices, but she wouldn't listen. Our relationship was at an all-time low. I didn't know if we could ever repair it. A few weeks later, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Lucas. He apologized. He said he was sorry for everything he had done, for the affair, for the spying, for the lies. He said he was ashamed of himself. He also said that he missed me, that he still loved me. I stared at the letter, my heart pounding. Could I forgive him? Could I ever trust him again? After everything he had done, after all the pain he had caused, could I find it in my heart to forgive him? That night, I couldn't sleep. I went to the kitchen, made some chamomile tea, and opened up the letter from Lucas again. As I read his words, I realized that while I could possibly forgive him one day, I couldn't forget. My relationship with Lucas was over. That much was clear. What remained was to make peace with the past, even if a future with him was impossible. What do you think I should do? Should I forgive him? I decided to focus on rebuilding my relationship with Lily. It wouldn't be easy, but I knew it was important. She was my daughter, and I loved her more than anything in the world. I started by writing her a letter. I told her how much I loved her, how sorry I was for hurting her, and how much I wanted to repair our relationship. I left the letter on her doorstep and waited. Her voice was hesitant, but she called. We talked for hours. We cried, we laughed, we shared memories, we started to heal. It took time, but eventually, we rebuilt our relationship. It wasn't the same as before, but it was stronger, more resilient. As for Lucas, I never forgave him completely, but I learned to accept what had happened, to move on with my life. I focused on myself, on my happiness, on my future. I took up painting, I traveled, I spent time with my friends. I realized that I didn't need Lucas to be happy. I could be happy on my own. It wasn't easy. There were still days when I felt angry, sad, and alone. But I learned to cope with those feelings, to let them pass. And I learned that sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. The journey was long and arduous, filled with heartbreak and betrayal, but it taught me valuable lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of self-love. I hope that by sharing my story, I can help others find their own path to healing and happiness. So what would you have done? Would you have chosen revenge or forgiveness? Write your choice in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. What would you choose? It's been almost a year since the divorce, a year since that graduation, a year since my life completely imploded. I still have nightmares sometimes. Nightmares about Lucas, about Sarah, about those threatening messages. I still jump at every unexpected sound, but things are better. I'm seeing a therapist. It helps. She encourages me to focus on the present, to let go of the past. Easier said than done, right? But I'm trying. I sold the house. Too many bad memories there. I bought a condo downtown in a vibrant, bustling neighborhood. Lots of cafes with free Wi-Fi and glass walls. Exactly what I need to feel connected, surrounded by life. The city lights at night are mesmerizing. They sparkle and shimmer, reminding me that even in the darkest of times, there is still beauty to be found. Remember Jake, Lily's ex, Lucas's pawn? Well, he's facing charges. Stalking, invasion of privacy. Serious stuff. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. He was just a kid, manipulated by a much older, more powerful man. But that doesn't excuse his actions. He betrayed my trust. He violated my privacy. And he scared the hell out of me. Lily, though, that's a different story. Our relationship is still fragile, like a delicate glass sculpture. We talk, we see each other, but there's still a distance between us, a lingering resentment. She still blames me, at least partially, for the destruction of her family. I get it. It's hard to see your parents fall apart. It's hard to accept that the people you thought you knew best are capable of such cruelty. But I hope someday she'll understand. Someday she'll see that I was just trying to protect myself, that I was just trying to survive. I've been thinking a lot about dating. It's been so long since I've been on my own. The idea of putting myself out there again is terrifying, but also kind of exciting. My friend Chloe keeps trying to set me up. You need to get back out there, Emily, she says. You deserve to be happy. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Easy for her to say. She's been happily married for 15 years. Oh, she has no idea what it's like to navigate the dating world in 2025. All those dating apps with their augmented reality filters, blockchain-based identity verification, it's overwhelming. And the horror stories, friends sharing cautionary tales of AI-powered catfishing schemes, or bots pretending to be influencers, all to scam you for crypto. Still, I coughed. I created a profile on one of those apps. I uploaded a photo, wrote a short bio, and started swiping. It was interesting. So many different faces, so many different stories. Some were genuine, some were clearly fake. One guy claimed to be a time traveler from the year 2242. I swiped left on that one. Then I matched with someone. His name was David. He seemed normal. A software engineer, divorced, with 2 kids. We started chatting. He was funny, intelligent, and surprisingly thoughtful. We talked about everything, our families, our careers, our hopes and dreams. He even asked about Lily. I told him about the graduation, about the divorce, about everything. He listened without judgment. He was understanding. We decided to meet for coffee, a cafe with free Wi-Fi, of course. I was nervous. I hadn't been on a date in, well, I can't even remember. I spent hours getting ready, agonizing over what to wear. I arrived at the cafe a few minutes early. I sat at a table near the window and waited. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. Then I saw him. He was even more handsome in person. He had kind eyes, a warm smile, and a genuine air about him. Emily, he asked, his voice gentle. I smiled. David? We talked for hours. We laughed. We shared stories. We made plans for the future. It was wonderful. I felt like I was, but there was something. A nagging feeling in the back of my mind. Something that didn't quite add up. He seemed almost too perfect. Too good to be true. I know, I sound paranoid, but after everything that's happened, I can't help but be suspicious. Later that week, David asked me out again. He wanted to take me to dinner to a fancy restaurant downtown. I accepted. I was excited. But I was also cautious. I decided to do some digging. I know, it's terrible, but I had to know. I used a reverse image search to check his profile photo. It came up clean. I checked his social media accounts. Everything seemed legitimate. But then I found something, a hidden connection, a link to Sarah, Lucas's Sarah. They were friends on social media. Not close friends, but friends nonetheless. My stomach dropped. What was the connection? Why were they connected? Was this a coincidence? Or was something more sinister going on? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being played, that David was not who he seemed to be. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, my mind racing. I kept replaying our conversations, searching for clues, for inconsistencies. Then I remembered something. David had mentioned that he worked for a cybersecurity firm. A cybersecurity firm. That was it. He was a hacker. He was working for Lucas. He was trying to get close to me, to find out what I knew, to sabotage my life. I felt betrayed, violated, and utterly terrified. I grabbed my phone and started searching for information about David's company. I found their website, their social media profiles, their client list, and then I saw it. A familiar name. Lucas's company was one of their clients. I had proof. David was working for Lucas. He was trying to destroy me. I had to warn Lily. She was still vulnerable, still hurting. She needed to know that her father was capable of anything. I called her, but she didn't answer. I left a message, begging her to call me back. I had to tell her the truth about David, about Lucas. I waited, but she didn't call. I needed to see her, to talk to her in person. I drove across town, my hands gripping the steering wheel. I parked in front of her building and walked inside. I knocked on her door. No answer. I knocked again, louder, still nothing. I started to panic. Where was she? What if something had happened to her? I tried the doorknob. It was unlocked. I hesitated. Should I go in? What if she was asleep? What if she didn't want to see me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong? I opened the door, and there she was, sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the television, and was David. He turned around, a sinister smile on his face. "Hello, Emily," he said. "We've been expecting you." My blood ran cold. I had walked right into their trap. How could I have been so stupid? What would you have done? Run? Fight? Or would you have just given up? I knew I was in deep trouble. David advanced, and I saw Lily stand. Her eyes showed nothing, just a deep, dark absence. "You shouldn't have come," she said, her voice flat, not the Lily I knew, the Lily I loved. It was Lucas, of course. He was behind everything, pulling the strings, using David and, devastatingly, my own daughter as pawns in his twisted game. He wanted to break me. Completely. He wanted me to lose everything, even Lily. But in that moment, seeing Lily's emptiness, something shifted within me.